We did it, guys. We survived the summer of 2025, which officially, astrologically, ended last Monday, the 22nd of September, as the sun has entered its fallen placement of Libra 11 minutes past 8 p.m. local Amsterdam time. And as the sun likes to go out, initiate, do things, Libra is one to wait things out, assess the situation before they go out, initiate, and present themselves. Hence, the sun is fallen in Libra. Falling placements, detriment placements, domicile, exalted, all these placements we can learn from to eventually better ourselves, learn from it, and develop. So try and take them and make it favorable to you. As autumn season has just started, we still have 3 months of fall ahead of us towards the end of the year, the Gregorian year, but let's not babble on too much in this video. I took the time and space for that in last video, in which we dissected the lunar eclipse in Pisces and solar eclipse in Virgo for all the signs, which didn't give us enough time or space to dissect the aspects, which are also quite important, as these aspects do lay the basis for our growth and development in the upcoming 6 months, as we're going off to the solar eclipse in Pisces and lunar eclipse in Virgo. So really try and use that south node in Virgo to, like the Virgo, better yourself. Fill your own cup first before you try and fill someone else's. But before we get into those aspects, let's get into some aspects which occurred during the autumn equinox, as this is laying the basis for the upcoming 3 months. See in which houses these fall for you, and see my creativity come to fruition again. Over here, we can see the sun on 29 degrees and 59 minutes in Virgo, because we are on the 22nd of September, but the time is on 20 hours and 10 minutes. So when we go 60 seconds ahead, I just like to show you how much difference this can make in a birth chart, as the sun has now arrived on 0 degrees and 0 minutes in Libra, a world axis. So on this day, around this time, quite prominent things may be happening, or this day may be the catalyst for quite prominent things to be happening later in the season. And we are going to dissect all these aspects. We knew. Because when we look at this screenshot, a bird chart is actually a screenshot of a certain time in the skies. We can see red lines, green lines. Red lines are the less favorable aspects, the squares and the obstacles, the squares and oppositions, obstacles we can learn from and develop ourselves with. They build character. And we have the green lines, the sextiles and the trines, and these are more favorable to you. Well, these are favorable aspects, but if you want these aspects to work for you, you have to work with them, or else they will not be working for you. So favorable, but take it, grab it by the neck, make it yours. So when we look at this screenshot, we see one white big aspect occurring, as we have a big green triangle in the middle. And this triangle is a trine, but aspects occur between two planets. These are like conversations between two planets, and we have favorable conversations, but there are 3 planets in this conversation, and all these 3 planets occur on certain degrees in air signs. So we don't just have a grand trine, as we have 3 sides, 3 conversations. We have a grand air trine. Air is all about knowledge, communication, sharing, gaining, and this is going very effortlessly around this time a year, as aspects do occur 2 degrees ahead and 2 degrees in front. So actually for 5 days. This grand trine is occurring between the sun in its fallen placement of Libra, which we just talked about. Assess, wait a minute before you go out, say things, do things, or whatever. And it's in a closing trine with Pluto moving retrograde on 1 degree in Aquarius. So Pluto's almost done moving retrograde, but as it is in Aquarius with the dominant phrase, I know, Aquarius has the power of the intellect. Pluto with the dominant phrase, I empower, is moving retrograde, I re-empower, as it is difficult to feel in control. when it comes to your intellect, your knowledge. What do you know and what do you not know? Either way, when we feel we don't really have control, we may lash out a little. Luckily, we have this air trine with the Sun and Pluto, so we don't. Because you are not obligated to, well, to give information. You are not entitled to receiving information. Take your time and let things work out the way they are working out. So as we have a closing trine with Pluto, we have a opening trine with Uranus just moving retrograde on 1 degree in Gemini. Gemini, dominant phrase I think, spreads information as a mutable air sign. And Uranus with the dominant phrase I evolve is moving retrograde, making it difficult to free ourselves from restrictive situations. So if I re-evolve how I think, so I can free myself. Because sometimes the way we think, the standards we have grown up with, are the things which keep us small, the things which keep us limited, restricted. So try and loosen up a little, try and lighten up a little. And as Uranus moves quicker than Pluto, we also have a opening trine with Pluto and Uranus. So again, that try and be more flexible. It's difficult to empower yourself. It's difficult to evolve yourself. So something has to change. And I think it's your way of thinking. But that's just me. And especially because Uranus is the inner genius, again, in an air sign, is ruled by, of course, stop babbling, Shmoane. But opening trines, closing trines, I'm going to elaborate on that because remember these cheat sheets of the moon phases? When we look at the moon phases, it's actually quite the same as all these aspects which other planets are making. Because when the moon and the sun are in a conjunction, we are at the beginning of a new cycle. Conjunction 0 degrees to 2 degrees in front, 2 degrees after. But we're opening with 60 degrees, a sextile, the opening sextile. And we have that crescent. First quarter, first obstacle at 90 degrees, 120 degrees, that first trine, opening trine, still going outward. And eventually we get towards the peak of a cycle. And we have that opposition at 180 degrees. So the peak of a cycle, what are we doing? Eventually we're going to close the cycle off with, again, 120 degrees. And we arrive at the waning gibbous. Eventually, we go to the last quarter, closing off that last sextile, the waning crescent, and end of an old cycle, beginning of a new cycle again. So sometimes you're like, okay, with the last quarter in Virgo, I want to do this, but you missed it. Up to next year. Either way, over here we have the waxing gibbous, waxing, growing. So the sun is going outward of Pluto, of Uranus. Uranus is going outward of Pluto. So for both those aspects, we can kind of like say it's a time to edit, refine, hone, adjust, and align. Stay open, flexible, and practice patience. Review if adjustment is needed and persist with your goals. Just that's actually kind of like what I said, didn't I? Even though you're thinking, I want to go here, I want to be there, be patient enough and readjust where readjustment is needed. I didn't have to tell you that. The retrogrades already told you that. Retrograde, re-evolve, re-empower. Sun never moves retrograde, is very sure of what it is and what it isn't. And sometimes needs to learn a little too. And we have that closing trine between the Sun and Pluto. So a time for self-reflection and rebirth, a feeling full of love and motivation. Discard old habits and toxic relationships. The old habit of, oh, someone is not giving me what I need, so I'm going to forcefully take. Libra would never. Slow down and tie up loose ends. Introspects. So again, look at yourself first. If you do not feel in control, how come? Why wouldn't someone give you the information or the intellect that you would like to have? And that's why it's necessary sometimes to get your intention journal out. So you can write about these things, about these happenings, and also note for yourself, okay, this is the autumn equinox. This is what I may expect as this is happening in these houses. Watch the houses video, but we have the cardinal houses, houses where things start, where we initiate, succulent houses, those houses of fixicity, and the cardinal, succulent, and cadent houses. See where this air trine is falling for you. But we have other things to talk about because we also have two oppositions I'd like to talk about. We're only going into the sun as the sun is our being, or how we go out. So, yeah, for the upcoming autumn season, if you want to dissect all those other things, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. The sun, universal, never moves retrograde. The sun is in a outer sign opposition with Saturn on 28 degrees, moving retrograde in Pisces. Saturn is kind of like the father figure. 28 degrees is the Cancerian degree, mother degree of nurturing, wanting to see things coming to fruition. But Saturn is luckily moving retrograde. Pisces, dominant phrase, I dream. This is what I believe. This is my belief system. But Saturn, dominant phrase, I achieve. I re-achieve because I need to restructure what it is that I want to achieve with these belief systems. Even though you believe it, how far has it gotten you? You know you need to change, and change is difficult, but it's also inevitable. Go with the flow. I'm coming back to you, but we are really going to talk about this. This outer sign opposition is something I really like to talk about because unanimously, Aries is in opposition with Libra, and that's the axis of relationship. Aries, the relationship you have with yourself, how you present yourself, go out, do you appreciate yourself, and this is how you present yourself, do you not appreciate yourself, this is how you, either way. And Libra is you in relationships, the relationships that kind of like form you and how you see yourself in them. But we're going out of that axis as 0 degrees in Libra still has 2 degrees in Virgo. So those 2 degrees, well, 29, 28 degrees, Saturn is in Pisces, it's still in that opposition, but outer sign. So that axis is a little bit out of balance, but also quite necessary. Because Pisces is normally on the axis of service, and Virgo, early service, I eat, sleep, shower, repeat, and your spiritual service, the service you are to your higher self, to your divine self, the self that you look at in the mirror, the self you go to sleep with. At the end of the day, can you still sleep well? At the end of the day, can you still look at yourself in the mirror and say, yes, this is me. Yes, I did that. Pisces people, memes, a lot of times show like, yeah, Pisces is the kind of person that would, yeah, throw a brick to a window, even though the police is standing next to them because they felt like it. At the end of the day, they just want some rest, they just want some peace, they just want some sleep. And people may say it's very impulsive, but they've thought about it, and sometimes it's not necessarily worth it. Sometimes you just need to do it, and you're like, and the police, like, why did you do it? Because I felt like it. Well, you do seem like very strong of faith, so you know what? Don't do it again and skedaddle right now. Faith can get you a lot of places. Do not forget Jupiter. Do not forget Jupiter used to be the old ruler of Pisces. Jupiter, the expander, is all about faith. If you have enough faith in your beliefs, it will become true. It will become reality. Again, back to that axis of service. You do these things on earth, so eventually in your subconscious, in your mind, you feel safe, sound, and well. You shower, so you feel confident and don't hear yourself nagging when you're around people and they're like, oh, something smells. You pray 5 times a day. So spiritually, in your belief system, you believe you feel at peace, at ease. So whatever it is you need to do here on earth to feel at ease with yourself, do it. Do it. Even if it is throwing the brick again. But think, you're not a child anymore. You've learned, you've developed. But for some people, it may seem radical, it may seem like. But again, they do not have your vision. They do not have your. Apparently, I was talking about the time I got arrested in The Hague like 11 years ago, so I could tell you this. Last Saturday, there was like this demonstration, and it went all out of hand. Everything. So, long story short, this police car was on fire, and a friend of me, he sent me a picture of it, and I was like, I'm on my way. Well, I took my God-given time, but I was on my way, and I took a picture with that car. And I thought like retaliation, but it's not really retaliation, but I feel okay about it because in my mind, in my belief system, I'm like, okay, the guy that was blowing me kisses when I was 20 years old, what do you call it, ambtenaar in functie that was blowing me kisses when I was 20 years old, he was over there scared and stuff. I was over there scared and stuff too. It cost me 4 hours of my life and 500 euros. So retaliate. I'm good. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to be patient and be here. And in my belief system, I feel like do whatever it is you need to do. You feel like you need to do, but do it with your chest. You gotta have faith. Speaking about faith, we have a in-sign opposition between the Sun in Libra. Patience, calculate, not necessarily calculate it. With the Sun in Libra and Neptune moving retrograde exactly on 0 degrees in Aries. So Neptune, I dream, I redream in Aries. I am who I am, how I present myself to the world, how I go out, how I initiate. Be very sure about it. And be very calculated and balanced. Again, that opposition, but in sign opposition on the axis of relationships again, and on 0 degrees, so the world axis. At the end of the day, this is how people will remember you. At the end of the day, people will remember, because I said it for 2, 3, 4 times already. I've been arrested 11 years ago on the Malieveld. And it's okay, because remember, I say I have these experiences so I can share them and you can do better. I've been scared. Well, I didn't really feel safe going out, but I did what I needed to do, because at the end of the day, I'm still pretty and I'm still good. Let's go to the lunar eclipse, because that's quite easy. It was on the 7th of September, 8 minutes past 8 p.m. local Amsterdam time. And over here, we also see quite fun aspects. And Pam Gregory also enlightened me on some of these aspects, as when, like, you do half of that bow and arrow, you have a yacht. I think that's what they call it. But the main thing is the point it's pointing to. So over here, it's also that point it's pointing to over there. And this whole, like, bow and arrow thing, there are so many aspects. This is why I haven't made the aspect video, because then I like enter like aspects and it says the hammer of Thor. Do you think the Grand Trine? Do you think a T-square? I don't know what this is called, but half of it is a yacht, and we have a Grand Trine in it in water signs. So let's go and start and dissect them. We're only going to look at what the moon was doing, as the lunar eclipse is quite ruled by the moon. Actually by Neptune, but the moon on the 7th of September, 8 minutes past 8 local Amsterdam time, was in an opposition with the sun. And this always happens. Speak of a cycle. Like, how do you actually feel about where's the sun in Virgo? Virgo distributes skill. Dominant phrase, I analyze. Mutable earth sign, make it practical. Do it for the materials. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like there's some kind of longevity that you can get out of it? Do you feel like you can, at the end of the day, sleep with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, feel that you are someone with integrity, that you have been honest? Because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. As it is in opposition with the sun, it's also in opposition with the south node in Virgo. And like I said in the beginning, the south node, it's a diving board that we use. We use the lessons, we use the experiences we have over here to go towards where we want to go, that north node in Virgo. So I cook, I clean, I entertain. So at the end of the day, I can say this is not just a house, it's a home. And yeah, by doing those early things, by having those early habits, by keeping those early routines, at the end of the day, I feel safe and sound. I feel good. I didn't do the dishes, but I don't care because I always do the dishes. So yeah, how do you feel about it? Moon, dominant phrase, I feel in Pisces. How do you feel about your dreams? Are you achieving them? Are you getting closer to it? I'm not gonna lie. I really need to do the dishes tonight because I don't want to get into the habit of not doing it. But it's very easy because at the end of the day, I'm like, for who am I doing it? The people who are walking here past me the whole time and staring at me. I'm gonna share another whatever, but it's been one funny ride. But we have a opening trine with Lilith and the moon in Pisces, as Lilith is in Scorpio on over there on 18 degrees. The moon is on 15 degrees because we had the solar eclipse over there. 18 degrees. Oh, Jupiter is on 19 degrees in Cancer, and we have the moon over here on 15 degrees next to the north node on 18 degrees. Conjunctions up to 2 degrees apart. I know. But opening trine with Lilith. So again, opening, it's that waxing, that waxing gibbous. Go out, start, do something with, well, first off, your feelings. Because your feelings, it's okay to have them, but what you're going to do with them, that's not okay. Let me see. We were with the waxing gibbous, edit, refine, hone, adjust, and align. Stay open, flexible, be patient, and refuel adjustments. Sorry. Moon in Pisces, I feel about my dreams. Lilith in Scorpio. I remember I started this whole circus like 3 years ago when Lilith was also in Scorpio. And Lilith, that scorned woman, I see someone else have what I want, and now I hate you for it. But I didn't keep you from like achieving what I have. I even give you the cheat sheets to get to where I am. I'd even like to hold your hand, but you never asked. So you actually don't have the right. It's not honest, and there is no integrity in hating me. So in that trine, water, that's what we're going to. But water is emotional, is intuitive, but it can go both ways. Remember what I said in the beginning, it will not work for you unless you work with it. So over here we can see I did not share these cheat sheets yet, but over here we can see water, emotional, intuitive. It can be healing, peaceful, trusting, compassionate. But in its less favorable expression, it can be depression prone, idealistic, and over trusting. So where? Like if someone's all these people who are selling courses, right? Like what I said at the beginning of the eclipse video, it's really easy to go with the majority because the majority is doing it. But when you are following the majority, you need to ask yourself questions. But It's really easy to go with the majority to say like, oh, I'm going to buy this online course because even though people have been warning us for online courses and stuff, this one is the one. Over trusting. And maybe you get depressed at the end of the day because now you know, oh, because I wanted to get there, for example, where Shmoane is, I did everything but approach Shmoane, and now I'm over here. And now I'm feeling sad about now I'm feeling some type of way about it, and I blame Shmoane. You do not have any reason to blame Shmoane. You have all the reason to blame you. Lilith in Scorpio. You desire it so much, work for it to get there. I work for it too. And we have a closing trine with Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer, that Dutch meme again. That's not your store. That's not your bicycle. That's not your child. That's not your business. So don't even let it. Like, if someone would approach me and be like, "Hey, Shmoane, I wanted to be where you are. I didn't follow you, but now I'm totally somewhere else, and I blame you for it." Why? Okay, I will respond with, okay, but why would I even respond? Why would I give my time, energy, emotional bandwidth for it? Jupiter, the expander, and about luck. And with Venus, we're going to talk about it, but it's a lot of it's words. A lot of people think it's monetary worth, but I always say it's the time, it's the energy, it's your bandwidth of intellect, it's your intellectual bandwidth, it's your resourcefulness to say, okay, maybe we should approach it. All those things before we talk about the money it even cost you. Think about what you are investing. Think about what the word is. Think it's worth is. Think about what you really want, where you really want to go, and what is taking it from you. So, Grand Water Trine. What is it? Is it favorable to you? Is it not so favorable to you? You can change situations, but you have to do something for it. You have to work. Well, trines are actually very effortless. You don't need to do anything unless you want to change the tides. Sextiles do require effort. Sextiles do require you to do something, put something in motion. Or whatever. But been there, done that. The only thing you can do now is work. And let's close off this lunar eclipse as we have the moon in a conjunction with the North Node on 18 degrees and the ascendant on 15 degrees. And the ascendant is also something funny I like to talk about, as a lot of people confuse the ascendant with the sun or don't really know what the difference is between. Well, the ascendant, first house, Aries, the things I talk about, is how you present yourself, how you approach the world, how you go out. It's the first glance. So this is how I present myself with the whole tab and with the sun is when I start sitting like this. And you can maybe notice this is a whole new day because I have new pants on instead of like doing the Dutch and you see the micro. You see a little more of the personality of how the sun express myself, how I shine and do, initiate, go out. And then we also have the big tree like the moon, and the moon is when I really get close to you, or especially when I do the lip gloss and I have to drink and I have the white lines. But no, it's a whole new day. So, yeah, imperfect skin. From the distance, you think, oh girl, that perfect skin. No. So, yeah, the ascendant, moon, dominant phrase, I feel, conjunction with the ascendant. Ascendant is again how you approach situations, how you show yourself, how you present yourself. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like you are where you want to be? Or do you feel like there are still some things that you could learn? 15 degrees is the Gemini degree. Gemini, again, the basics about communicating. And communication is not just the words. It's also things you do not communicate. It's also the things you just show. It's also the symbolism. So, yeah, how do you feel about it? If I were to do this whole video sitting like this, I would be okay. I am so okay with everything, but it's not nice. It's not how I would like to be a pro, and I do the things like I would like you to do to me how I do to you. Put in a little effort. Be yourself, but put in a little effort. The ascendant, how do you feel about it? Is this what you dreamed of? Is this how you want it to be? And also in a conjunction with that North Node, the North Node on 18 degrees, which is the Virgo degree. Virgo analyzes, distributes skills. I feel like I can distribute skill, but sometimes you do need to ask some things. If you don't ask, if you don't tell, I don't know, and I just think I'm doing well. Sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, that lunar eclipse. How do you feel about yourself, your belief systems, the things you dream and stuff? Oh, my belief systems were so attacked last summer. And I couldn't be here for you, which was also quite a bummer because I was feeling so insecure. But it's okay because I'm a Leo. And like I said in the eclipse video, Leo, just chill. Just chill. It's a number 9 year. Things are coming to an end. Things are coming to a close. It's time to like, even kijken. Are you okay? Are you bueno? Are you sane? Are you sane? Oh, sorry. But not sorry. Then stop saying it, love. We're going off to the solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse is funny because it wasn't even like 24 hours before we had the autumn equinox. So, in that way, the solar eclipse is really connected with the autumn equinox. But also, yeah, fall season. What are we gonna drop? What are we gonna fall? Because lunar eclipse, this is how I feel. Solar eclipse, this is how I want to be. And as it is eclipsed, nothing and no one can tell you otherwise, except for the truth that is the reality which is in front of you. So again, where are the books? Did you write down how you feel? Did you take notes? So in 6 months you can say, "Oh, this is where we are. This is the deal." Yeah, but me neither. But yeah, solar eclipse. That's where we're going towards. That's where we're growing towards. That's what we want to develop for the upcoming 6 months. And we're going to talk about the sun right now. Again, a lot of aspects. Some already done, like afterwards. Some still there, but all very prominent. See where they fall for you, astrology master. It's free. You can even use it without internet and stuff. We have the sun in a conjunction with the moon on 29 degrees, as this is the second new moon. This was the second new moon in Virgo. The first new moon was 30 days before, at the beginning of Virgo season, on 1 degree. 1 degree unevolved expression of the Virgo. So I really want to be of service. I really want to help you because I can better, because I'm here. No one asked you though, but we're going to get into that because there are a lot of aspects and some not shown here, but there are two we're going to talk about. This second new moon is on 29 degrees, the critical degree, the energetical degree of Virgo. So 29 degrees, Leo degree, the full expression after learning, evolving, and developing like a Virgo. Not everyone needs you. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. You should not be a slave to the wage. And how do you feel about it? New you, new cycles. New cycle, new you. And this is for the whole upcoming year. It's just a drastic change for the upcoming 9 years. This is how I'm going to be of service. But this is for the upcoming year. And for the upcoming 9 years, you're just developing, you're just growing, you're just doing until we get to a new cycle of numbers. We still have that closing trine between Pluto on 1 degree and Uranus on 1 degree. the closing trine with Pluto moving retrograde in Aquarius, and the opening trine with Uranus moving retrograde in Gemini. But it's a solar eclipse in Virgo, yes. 1 degree, 2 degrees ahead is 29 degrees, but in another sign. So we have a outer sign grand trine. Sounds fun. But outer sign grand trine, so it's normally about air. Pluto and Uranus were already talking about air, communication, knowledge, how I'm going to change. And all of a sudden, the sun and the moon in Virgo, the practical, mutable earth sign, are over there discussing, putting things in gang, being a catalyst, putting it in gang. So, sun in Virgo is very practical. It's about the material. It's about the longevity, kind of. And where Libra may take its time to reassess, Virgo's quite hard. I kind of like explained it with Mercury, but let me try and do that a little shorter, because Mercury and in Virgo is not just home, it's also exalted. So it's not just a learning moment, it's also a learning moment. But Mercury in Libra has developed, has learned, and says, you know what, I'm going to do it like this. Because two situations, Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Libra. One situation, Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Libra. You go out at 7, you for yourself, you say, I want to be gone by 8, but some friend you're talking to about this says, no, we're going to leave by 11 because the party quits at 12. Mercury in Virgo would be going into discussion. That whole 7 to 8 would be a little bit ruined because of the discussion. No, I want to leave by 8, and at the end of the day, you're still out by 11:30 because you were so much in discussion, you forgot the time and everything. And for the whole year, you're going to be like, I remember that one time. Mercury in Libra has learned from that, not just domicile, but also exalted placement, and has learned, you say, I'm going to leave by 8. Your friend is like, no, we're going to stay until 11. And then you're like, okay. You know better. And you're going to do better. As soon as it's 1 minute before 8, you take that French exit and leave. You don't have to tell anybody, you already told them. They know where you are, gone. So those two placements, two things. I know this is how it's going to go, so I'm going to do what I have to do. Adjust the situation so it can go that way. I know how it's going to go. Someone is debating me about it. That's not what I'm going to spend my time with. Think about it. Take your time. So I said that to say, sun in this air trine, but outer sign air trine, in the earth sign, make it practical. Make it practical. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you want to learn, whatever it is that you want to say, whatever it is that you want to teach, make sure that it's practical. Make sure that others can also understand. But that's something you find out when we are at the autumn equinox and the sun is in Libra, and people are like, but don't. You don't need to put all your cards on the table immediately. But that's something we learn as the cycle evolves. So that air trine, we already talked about it, but we have a outer sign opposition with Neptune in Aries. So as the sun is still in Virgo, dominant phrase, I analyze, distribute skills and stuff, and is of service to, opposition with Neptune. I dream, I redream who I am, how I want to present myself to the world, with which skills. Which skills do you have, and how are you going to exert those skills? Just because you have knowledge doesn't mean anyone wants to listen. Just because you want knowledge doesn't mean anyone is going to give it to you. Luckily, like not even 24 hours later, we have all these other aspects, which are what? Inner sign opposition with Saturn moving retrograde. And I have so much to say about this. It's all that like fatherless behavior. Yeah, but I had a father in my life. But was he emotionally available? Was he so emotionally unavailable that you wish he was physically unavailable? Don't you just envy me for not having a father that was physically available? And that's why I never envy anyone. Again, that Lilith in Scorpio, everyone has their own thing. Mind your business. Mind your business. But that's Saturn, like the father figure structure and stuff in Pisces about the dreams and the things you think about and stuff. Like, but I never had a father. Do it yourself. A lot of people haven't had people to show them the skills to distribute the skills that they need right now. Just like a father. No. You need to teach yourself, sweetie. Don't be, I never. Oh, we're going to talk about it. We are going into the 150-degree aspect with the Sun in Virgo and Chiron in Aries, because Chiron's here on 26 degrees. We also kind of talked about this in the eclipse video. And Chiron is that wounded healer. When it's moving retrograde, it's that wounds from the past. So I may be still hurt about being arrested like 11 years ago and 4 hours of my life, 500 euros. Yeah, whatever. That was in this lifetime. In a past lifetime, other things may have happened. I was falling asleep with this video about why are gypsies not welcome anywhere and stuff, and where do gypsies originate from, and apparently they were like the bottom tier of the Indian thing, and long story short, they were kind of like slaves. And yeah, we talked about it then too, because in the houses video too. But Virgo represents colleagues, work, being of service, others being of service to you, and thus slaves. And as it is in this 150-degree aspect with Chiron, that's that offbeat wisdom, sudden offbeat wisdom concerning health. It's not healthy to be slaving for the wage man. And I don't know, all these trad wives too. They're like, oh, I just want to be at home for the man. And I found that woman the other time that said the N word in her thingy and stuff. And then she was a single trad wife mother, or she didn't even have a child. Well, to be a trad wife, you don't need to be a mother, but you do need to have a husband. But yeah, some people are like, oh yeah, I really want to be doing that. So you want to be of service the whole time? So you want to have people who are of service to you the whole time? Because you're emotionally absent father taught you, like, as long as you're in the kitchen. Sorry, I can't. Yeah, I just see a lot of things and I have a lot of things to say. But as it's the sun will also be in where's Virgo? The sun will also be in a semi-sextile with Mars in its detriment placement of Libra. And on 29 degrees, so the full expression of exact semi-sextile. So the full expression of Mars in Libra, I act furthest from home in relationships. So maybe a little bit more dualistic instead of me. Also think about others, how others feel, how others may react, how others, excuse me. And the sun in Virgo, adjustment, adjust yourself better. Don't just fill others' cups. Oh, you could better yourself over here. You could better yourself. Also fill your cup, because you could also better yourself, sweetheart. And semi-sextile's funny. Well, it's not, but we have trines. Trines, 120 degrees, most harmonious. A trine is the most favorable aspect, bringing advantage and ease. The only problem is that too many trines in a chart may make a person weak and lazy. Then half of a trine is a sextile, because a sextile is a aspect of 60 degrees, harmonious and favorable. A sextile brings opportunity. Unlike trines, sextiles require effort on the part of the native to work their beneficial influence. Native, as it is talking about things in your birth chart, but see again on which degree, where 29 degrees Virgo Libra falls for you. So you can do something with this. Well, so you could have did something with this. And half of a sextile is a semi-sextile of 30 degrees, is mildly favorable, brings opportunity, but is much less powerful than a sextile. So still something we can work with. Still something we can do something with. Adjust yourself and be a little more prolonged when you go out and talk to people. I will try and be back on Sunday with shorts, on Monday with the full bang, and have a nice weekend.